Andrews, and I'm coordinator for 2 Amnesty International groups in this area. My information is a little old because Amnesty International, in coordination with the National Organization for Women, spearheaded the pardon of June Briand, who was incarcerated in Goffstown. She's been out for way over 10 years. The then governor finally pardoned her after we compiled this much documentation. But because I visited her frequently, I found out a lot of things about the women prisoners. And what June told me when I visited her was that most of the women in Goffstown are there because they covered for their men. It was the men who were the drug dealers, it was the women who covered for them, ended up in jail. And if you went visiting there, the men came and brought the little children to visit. So in addition to the color factor, it's also a factor that the women, yes, the women are often the fall guys.
Thank you. Back.
I'm David Weber, speaking only for myself, not organizationally. I want to celebrate the points that have been made by the panel and by other speakers from the floor as the right messages to carry to the executive counselors and to the governor, and if possible to the legislature. But I want to add an asterisk that even though what's in the asterisk is not good messaging politically right now, it's pretty indispensable for contextual understanding of why this meeting is taking place on the terms that it is, which is that the state doesn't have enough money to meet minimal standards along the lines of what you were calling who we want to be. If you look at our collective behavior in other areas, you see the same thing that we're seeing here, which is the terms on which issues are being debated are forced by revenue shortfall at the state level. This is also true with casinos, it's true with environmental issues, and it's true with safety net issues. In every case, the argument is being fought out on frustrating terms that we wouldn't even be having a conversation if we had a rational tax system. But we don't have a rational tax system. Yeah. We have a tax system that's broken fundamentally, both in terms of equity and in terms of adequacy. So, having said that, I now sort of want to strike it from the record because that is absolutely the last damn thing that anybody in political life wants to hear right now. But it's also the fundamental and underlying truth of the situation.
Thank you.
So, David, someone said earlier, well, you know, the fact is we don't have the money. Do we have the money? Is there money out there?
Well, there's $100,000 to study the study, or study their FPs.
Are we a rich state?
Yes.
Just checking. All right.
In the front.
Yeah, are there states that do this right that can be used as models where you can say, this is an example of how it can work and there's a proven track record here?
One thing I'll pass to Jason said, one thing I want to say is the fact that we have found through looking in other states that private prisons are worse in terms of safety, they're worse in terms of job quality, they're worse in terms of services, and they're worse in terms of accountability. That is not to say that our publicly operated prison system is flawless and that all of these things are going well everywhere else. So I think there's a lot to learn, and I don't know myself where the models are.
I was so eager to grab the microphone because one of the states that's trying something that's working is Texas. and they love talking about it because they're known for the hang 'em high, I'll come up, throw away the key model. And to David's point, it was driven by their fiscal crisis because they couldn't afford to continue building prisons. Otherwise, they would have, and they really admit it. But they tried started a state version of a drug court with. It actually, originally we were supposed to show the film Billions Behind Bars before this got canceled. And you can see there's on CNBC's website, there's a Billions Behind Bars page. And they have clips that you can look at. If you have iTunes, you can buy it for $1.99. I have it on my phone. I take it with me everywhere and show it when I can. It's about 45 minutes long. And it still occasionally runs on CNBC too. So they usually have a schedule of when it's going to show again.
Jason, you can see the whole thing on YouTube.
There you go. I did not know that. So there you go.
Say that for everybody to hear.
It's Billions Behind Bars, and what Richard said was that you can see the whole thing on YouTube now.
Saw it today.
Okay, so there you go. It gives a bunch of different examples of it's a documentary. That's an investigative reporter went in and just shows you some very straightforward versions of all the things that we're talking about today, how it's working in different states, ways that prisoners are exploited in prison industry models, where they're producing a profit for the state by producing products and putting other businesses out of business. And then the final segment is the most powerful for me when I watch it, is this sort of hang 'em high judge that took over this community corrections program and is completely moved to believe in the people that he's serving, where they're coming in to this court on a weekly basis. They know if they blew it, they're in trouble, and they're going to do a week of time or something, or if they keep offending, they're going to go in for longer. But they have treatment. They've got to show up for their appointments. Spending a week behind bars is because you showed up late or you blew off your appointment with a treatment specialist, or with your Alcoholics Anonymous group, or with your drug treatment group. And this is the kind of thing that a drug court brings. And I feel your pain, Dave, because I'm going to do this at the deliberative session next week again, for our school system over in Kingston, because there's no money to go around and it keeps getting shoved down on us. But like Arnie was saying earlier, this is the place where the research converges with the right public policy decisions, caring for our people, and saving money. And when you look at the alternatives, and back to what you were asking before, there are so many ways for us to do this the right way. We've touched on a number of them, like the drug courts and the community corrections model, and it's being done in Stratford County, and it's being done in Belknap County, Cheshire County. This is the community corrections model. Cheshire County just started a drug court. We're actually doing it, and we're setting models for people in other parts of the country who are coming to study what is being done in Stratford or Belknap. And we can do this, and we can save money. And the reason that Stratford gets to continue doing these programs, or Belknap continues to do these programs, is because they can continue going to the delegation and saying, we saved money and people are doing better. We can do this, and we can actually find the money if we continue to chew ourselves up and not fix our revenue problem.